And so show us some of the suppositories and stuff that you make. And what does exactly the CBD-A do as a suppository? Because I've never even heard that really.
Okay, so this is going to get a little scientific. There's an Italian study on humans that they took CBD tincture and CBD-A tincture, THC tincture and THCA tincture, and they gave it to patients sublingually under their tongue, and then they would pull blood to see how much actually is bioavailable. CBD by itself is unless it's topical, internally is really not bioavailable. I mean, it is a little, but not very much. They found that 30 times, the acid forms were 30 times more bioavailable. But that's not the cool thing. When you're looking at neutral cannabinoids, which are the decarboxylated, so THC, CBD, CBG, that have been converted, those are neutral cannabinoids. Those are just not very bioavailable orally. And when they do get into your body, they work in the endocannabinoid system, which is basically the cool thing about your endocannabinoid system, which by the way is in every mammal. It's the #1 receptor in every freaking mammal. It's really responsible for keeping your body in homeostasis, so keeping your immune system not too active, not active enough, but bringing everything to just where it needs to be. And that's a good thing. Okay? And our suppositories are about 30% CBD, 70% CBD-A. And then there's really no scientific studies done on CBD-A until about 2008, 2009. The British Journal of Pharmacology in 2010 had this study with rats where they used CBD and CBD-A on a nausea and vomiting response. That happens in your brainstem in a 5-HT1A receptor that's responsible for that. They found that CBD had an effect, positive, on that receptor, but when they ran CBD-A, 100 times the affinity. That's 2 orders of magnitude. That's a real number, 100 times. So they were getting the response they were getting with so much less. So the vomiting nausea response is, and we've had anecdotal evidence, we've had patients going through chemotherapy and through opiate withdrawals. It sounds like 2 different things, but it's not. When you're on opiates, your brain stops uptaking serotonin, that's a serotonin receptor, because you got something better. You got opiates in your brain. You don't need serotonin. So when that receptor shuts down, and then you go off opiates, you get no serotonin. So you get the withdrawals. You start puking. You get nauseous. You do anything you can to get more. Well, guess what? This binds to that receptor and forces serotonin back up into your brain. So when you're going through nausea from chemo, we've only had a few patients, but we're looking for doctors to really put this to the test. They go through chemo with very little nausea or vomiting. We've gotten 5 people off opiates. I'm not going to describe but basically it's giving them these suppositories and slowly weaning them off. The other really cool thing about the acid forms, especially CBD-A, it boosts your immune system, but it regulates inflammation. COX-1, COX-2 are enzymes that when you eat an ibuprofen, an aspirin, a prednisone, a really big anti-inflammatory, they have 2 mechanisms. COX-2 is the enzyme responsible for inflammation. So suppressing that suppresses inflammation. Good. When you have even like a 600 milligram ibuprofen, or you have a prednisone, right on the label it says, eat with food. The reason is COX-1 enzyme, it suppresses that too, but that's a good enzyme. The COX-2 regulates your stomach lining. So if you suppress your stomach lining, you're going to burn a hole in your stomach. CBD-A is selective. Not only does it reduce COX-1, but it boosts it reduces COX-2 and boosts COX-1, so it's more of the good, less of the bad. It also works with two other enzymes. One of them is called TNF-alpha, which stands for tumor necrosis factor alpha, which is responsible for cellular death and inflammation. It suppresses that. It also increases interleukin-10. Now, interleukins are mostly heavily anti-inflammatory. There's interleukin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 20. And 19 of those are really bad inflammation sources.
Yep.
But interleukin 10 is one that if you increase it, it's anti-inflammatory. So it works with the anti-inflammatory and immune system. So the thing that I'm just really hoping to try, when you get COVID, most of that is a cytokine storm where your immune system goes haywire and starts attacking itself. Well, in theory, CBD-A would bring that back down into a much, so you don't have that immune system attacking itself. And then the inflammation, COVID-19, if you go on Facebook and look at COVID-19/long hauler, there's a whole group of people that got it, got over it, and are still really, really bad shape because of inflammation of the blood vessels. And it's affecting them cognitively, it affects their energy levels, and it's an inflammation. So the two things, really the biggest thing that CBD-A suppositories do is anti-inflammatory, immune boost, and then the other two things are on the side are really the nausea and vomiting for those other two things we talked about. But it's when, we've had these since March. Anytime I get a swollen gland, I think I'm getting sick, I'm on them. I haven't gotten sick since then. I've had a gout attack, and I've been getting gout attacks since October 2016, and it's Percodans and prednisone for 3 days. So I got my last attack in March, and an hour and a half after I took the first suppository, there was no pain, swelling went down. I stayed on it for 3 days, and then every time I feel it coming back, I get right on it. So I know, for me at least, it works as a heavy anti-inflammatory and an immune boost. I'm not going to go on opiates just yet because I don't want to be that guinea pig.
Sure.
But we've had some guinea pigs that we've really helped. We've got lucky and worked with a doctor in Minnesota that was retiring and said, "I'll give you 5 patients," and we got all 5 patients off opiates over a 6-week period. Because one of the things when you've been on opiates, and the average patient was on opiates for 12 years. From the doctor. So the first thing you do is you start them on the suppositories a week before you're going to start cutting back, because it gets your
serotonin uptake.
It starts your serotonin uptake. So there was after 2 weeks of that, then you cut in half. So if they're doing 6 Percodans a day, they can go right to 3 without any withdrawals. And you do that for a couple of weeks, and then you go from 3 to 1.5, no problem. And then you just keep cutting it in half every couple of weeks. We don't know long term if they're going to fall back into it. But these were not people that were set out to be addicted. They got hurt. This was all no street drugs. These are all people getting it from a doctor. So it's been a few months, and all 5 of them are still off. They're still using the suppositories because it's also good for inflammation. Most people are in pain, so their pain levels are down. They don't have to use opiates. And one guy was on for 20 years. And so he's been off now for 3 months. And so it's just the acid and then this is just CBD-A. We don't have I'd love to do THCA, but I don't want to go to prison. I'd love to do CBC-A. I'd love to do CBG-A. But the only studies are CBD-A, and there's lots of them. And I've got a deck that I
How did you learn about all those?
We have a little thing in here, maybe you've heard of, it's called the internet. And if you type in CBD-A, and then because there's only about 20 or 30 studies, every one that you read, when you see the footnote, I go down to the footnote. Then I go to the study. And so I've looked at all the studies, I've read all the studies. I understand the chemistry. And so and then it's worked on me and my family and my friends. You know, my wife's best friend went through 20 rounds of chemo, lost his hair, but had no nausea and vomiting. You know, it's worked on my gout. It's worked. I mean, whenever I start to get sick, I mean, it literally in 24 hours, swollen gland's gone. I mean, it's really, really cool. And we just have to, you know, we have to go from 20 people doing it to 2,000 to really get some good numbers and to get some statistical data. The only way we're going to get to the promised land is through doctors' offices.
Yeah.
And we're in 2 naturopaths. I'm trying to get into this pain clinic. And if we can just get enough patients on it, I think we're going to, you know, next time you see me, we'll be in a, you know, 800,000 square foot facility, and we'll be making $5 million a day.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir.
and you'll love the name of our suppository company. It's called INUNDO.
Innuendo. Brilliant.
So yes, innuendo.com or
Yeah.
maybe .net, but Innuendo. But here's the thing. By having a website, we couldn't get a bank account.
Oh, we are
We
dealing
couldn't
with
get
the
so-
bank account stuff.
So
Start.
and then we couldn't and then you set up a website so that educate but try and sell stuff. Well, you can't get a credit card. So we have it, it's there, you can go look at it.
You want to show us some of the suppositories or
Yes,
anything? Or
absolutely.
the crude oil?
Yes. And the thing is, this oil, these 2 safes
Yeah.
are filled with it. They're actually 3. Then I've got, so that's a third of what I have. Another third is off-site in Ashland,
Yeah.
and another third is off-site in California. Just because, I mean, each kilo, we sell them for about $6. We get 10,000 per kilo, it's 60,000 a kilo. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is dark CBD-A versus pen ready.
And this is all. This is.
So the pen ready, this would be color remediated. This is just gotten a little darker, but
Yeah.
this is jet black.
Oh yeah, it is. It's really jet black.
Yeah, and even though it's 99.97.
And that's just the color of CBD-A.
Yeah.
Is it? Right?
Yeah.
Or how it refracts with
Yeah,
the light.
and this is 99.97% give or take, pure.
Like hard like a rock.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard.
It's very hard. So this is what they look like raw. They're coming in 10 packs. These are 100 milligram. And then we've got jars. We sell them at the doctor's offices in either a 30 pack, there's our Innuendo label, or a 10 pack.
It's really fascinating, and like I said, that's the real main point of this channel. And just a big thanks to Bob for bringing us in, showing us, learning. I know I learned a lot today. I'm sure that a lot of you have learned a lot today. Thank you, Bob.
Thank
Absolute
you so much,
pleasure.
Lou.
Cheers.
I really appreciate it. Thank
Cheers.
you so much for listening.
So I'd say to everybody then, if you have any questions or you're looking more into CBD-A suppositories, if there's some of this that's really related to you, you can always just reach out to us via our Instagram, drop a comment below, and we'll do our best to put you in contact with Bob or figure out how we can get some suppositories or something like that. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this week's video. If you like the content and want to see more, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with every new video as they're released. And don't forget to leave a comment if you want to be entered into our weekly giveaway to get some Al's products. Congratulations to this week's winner. Please make sure to reach out to us on Instagram to claim your prize. And if you can't wait that long, click the link in the description below. Thanks again for watching, everybody. See you next week.